Morning, guys. Hey, I'm going to try a new thing here. I wanted to go over where Carl Sabe is now on his quest to break the Pacific Crest Trail supported trek from the Mexican border to Canada. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. I've got my computer screens and this is his website, so I'm going to set up my camera on his website and show you how I've been evaluating how he's been doing. Okay, we're set up on his website, and this is his home page. So if you go to his home page, carlsabe.com, click on, or you could go to pctcarlsabe.com, which is where I'm going to go to. So I'm going to click on that right now. And this brings up a really good graphic of where he's at, where his support team is and everything. And he's almost halfway through now. He's been on the road for 23 days and 16 hours. There he is right there. And that's Kobe, the guy that did most of the talking when we met up with him. And his other... That's the crew. Let's see if I can scroll in and see if, yeah, here's, I believe it's Henry, right? So Henry and Kobe are the two guys that hike in and bring supplies in. And I think the other person is Karel Sabbe's wife's cousin. Some of the interesting things to look at are how far he goes in time, how much time it takes him to go. These are all in kilometers. So this would be kilometer 2101 right here. And 2102, so the timestamp, this I believe is done with an inReach, and he had someone create this website for him. So he was there today at 2101 at 11:32, and let's see, look at the contours, not too bad, not too up and down. So he was at that spot 2140. So let's see, what was it? 21:32. So 8 minutes to go a kilometer. And if we do the math, let me do it here in the background real quick. So 60 divided by 8, that's 7.5 kilometers per hour. And there's 0.62 kilometers in a mile. So that's about a 4.65 or 4.6 mile per hour pace. Why do I look at that? Because he's trying to average 58 miles a day. And let's go back to find where he started today. Let's scroll in and see what the timestamp, also these close together, sometimes they're indications. So right there, that was yesterday at 7:18, at 7:20, then 3:56 a.m. So he stopped around 7:20 and started up again at 3:56. So let's see what the picture looks like. Oh, there's his camp there. There's someone else camped there too. So someone to talk to. But I think Henry was with him last night. Henry might have been Kobe. I forget. They seem to trade off. This is a typical day. He gets in at around 7:30, and then he starts up around 4 in the morning. So but he usually has eight and a half hours of rest. How much of that is sleep would be interesting to know. So looking at all this data, he looks like he runs or is on the trail for 16 or so hours a day. And if you do the math, it's about 4.5 miles per hour. I would imagine he's real light. He just has a Camelback usually on, plenty of water, maybe a few energy gels and stuff like that. But the support crew has all the heavy stuff. He could, when we met him, he walked up to us, but he was, again, expecting to meet his buddies. We were right at the cross between the Horseshoe Meadows Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail. Let me go back up there and show it. So right here, you can see how these are too close to get right here. You can see how he stopped right by this stream. So we had just come up over Cottonwood Pass, my wife and I, and around 11:30, and see he's right here at 11:31. He comes walking by, and his buddies came up, Henry and Kobe. Kobe was on Strava. I saw him because I did my hike on Strava too, and he really booked it up from the. So Henry must have been with him. Booked it up from the. He probably made it in an hour up to here, where it took us 3.5 hours hiking in. The guys are definitely fit. So this is where I did that interview in the previous video with them. They were sitting by this creek and getting ready to go, and then they took off. So let's see. This is 11:36, 11:51. So yeah, that they were there probably 8-10 minutes. Then they took off. And this is pretty flat stretch here. You can see the big spacing between the timestamps. Timestamps are usually about 10 minutes apart, about 5 minutes. So they have like a 5-minute, you can sign up in your InReach for different increments, different levels. So he's on the 5-minute increment. And you can see they're spaced pretty well. That means I've done this hike before. This is traversing along the edge, and then you drop down, and then this is all pretty flat across here. Then this is a quick drop all the way down to Rock Creek, and he crossed right there, which is not a bad spot to cross, because here it flows quite a bit more, the normal crossing. So that's interesting. That's the other thing you get. The other thing, so here's some of the things that I've looked at, just trying to figure out what he's doing. Farther up here, as you saw in the interview, they expected, and they did hit snow. So if you look at the Forester Pass, the highest spot on the Pacific Crest Trail, he did pretty good going over there. Look at these spacing. So Carl started this, let's get a time date, about July 10th. Yep, July 10th from Campo at the Mexican border. And right around that time, we were, July 12th and 13th, we were in Desert Springs with the grandkids, their 2 granddaughter, 4-year-old granddaughter twins, in Palm Desert, and they were having a heat wave. We had to come down to LA for business, and we took them out there. We went up the Palm Springs tram and stuff like that, and we were going to do some other stuff here, but it was just so bloody hot. So it was like 113 to 117 degrees here. And yeah, that's when Carl was going through this area. So what's interesting when I looked at this is, it wasn't surprising, but it was interesting to see when he started. He started at 7:43 p.m. and 11:30, so he's going all night. 9:11, 7 p.m. Okay, so right here is where he stopped. So 9:13 a.m. to 6:56 p.m. he rested. So he rested during the middle of the day and then runs all night down here in the desert. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting to look at these graphics and get an idea for what he was doing. Running. So down here he's running at night and sleeping during the day. Then he's transitioned to running during the day and sleeping at night when it got cooler up here in the mountains. And the pictures, when we met him, he was chipper and cheerful, and the pictures we've looked at, he looks chipper and cheerful, but man, he must go through some psychological changes, I would think. His body is, I mean, he's used to this. He's done many things, endurance races like this, but his body definitely is naturally going to get worn down as he goes, and that can change. It'd be really interesting to see how his psyche is, and I would probably you can talk to him about it or talk to a support crew, find out from them, well, how is he every day? And I'm sure they either notice changes or don't notice changes. But he's very consistent. He's so far, hopefully, nothing like an injury or really severe weather impacts him. And he's on track to break even his estimated 50 days right now. So, yeah, you can follow him at pct.carlsabe.com and follow this graphic. It'd be real neat if he made a video of this like he did of the other races that he did. So I just thought I'd give you an update and show you how I've been following what he's doing. It's been really entertaining following him. I'm glad we had the stroke of luck to meet up with him and become enthusiastic about his trip. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you later.